Take this, Zanos!
Now, who will create the story? This is the most important thing, because the story is what really drives the video. So in our case, Vince, who has a team, people who help to create stories, and they usually, they do whiteboard animations, and they also do comic books. So he was the one that had the team that creating the story, and the story actually goes between not only him, but like working with Dave Woodward and Russell Brunson, and in this picture you also see the Todd, who is the founder, co-founder of ClickFunnels. So who will create the story? This is where it gets interesting, because you can choose a couple ways, but the story really is just the text. The story is a script that the beginning is just the document, because it's idea, the dialogue and description, and what happens. So you can see, like, they started helping those people under 1 million. Each user their own special powers as follows, right? So it creates like outline the story, and it's a lot of like storytelling is a big thing. And here's another example how the story looks in the beginning. Like, this is the beginning of the video. Amazing video starts like this. And there's two different types of clients that come to us. One, the ones that have a script. So people like Russell Brunson, maybe Dean Graziosi, maybe like Brendan Bouchard or somebody else like that, who can create already the scripts. But the usually majority of clients, the ones who don't have a script, so they need help with developing that. And these are the two types, right? So who will create a story? Maybe you're not one of them, right? So how do you do that? Well, you can have copywriters. And just an example, there's of course software like Funnel Scripts, right, and VSL Wizard, but the big majority of clients don't know how to do VSL correctly, the one that sell, because they don't have the message developed yet, they didn't test it yet, they don't really have copywriting skills. So it's really tricky to do things like VSL Wizard, or you could hire somebody who's a copywriter. So like probably Jim and John Carlton are not available because they're usually just too expensive. I mean, like, they're just to write 5 minutes video, it costs from like 10 to 15 to 20,000, 30,000 sometimes, because they teach, because they have this scalability with their products, and that's why they're so expensive. But you can also, of course, you can find copywriters that do this well. And these are the people that will create the stories, because if you don't know, if you're not good at storytelling, you shouldn't be considering it. Of course, in the beginning, if you don't have the money, if you don't have funds, you can start and test it, but start with low budgets. Like, don't try to put too much money into it, because you don't know if it's going to work or not. So you're better off just trying in the beginning, getting some results, and then only then getting somebody and hiring somebody to write it for you or create something amazing for you. So whenever clients come to us, I also ask, do you have a script? Do you have something that's working for you already? So I know, if we can bet on them. And of course, we test with, like, I ask my peers and people that I know about the script. So we check just to see if it, if it works, if it's something that could be working well. And then if we start with animation, we just start with the simple ones. So we test it. Unless it's like Russell Brunson, of course, we start with like full on, because he doesn't create scripts that don't convert, because he knows, he comes to us if something's going to work. Okay. So you have to also think about a couple of things when getting copywriters or helping somebody to get started. So who has done similar copy? So you want somebody who has done for similar industry or similar video that you're trying to do, because most of the time it's going to be a new project for them. They're going to have like to research new audience, but really in the beginning especially, it's easier to just hire somebody who've done similar things, because they already, you know, especially consistently got results for clients. If they consistently got results for clients in the similar niche or in similar industry, then you know they at least understand how to write it, right? Also, make sure you check for "I'm finished this." And what I mean by that is, a lot of copywriters that are newbies, they're putting themselves out there as the copywriters, but what they actually did, they just finished, you know, they like writing, for example, but they just finished John Carlton's, or you know, or went through funnel scripts, right, or something similar, and they already considering themselves a great, you know, copywriter, or at least good copywriter, but all they have done is they just went through somebody else's course. So make sure you filter out these people, and of course you have to make sure you distinguish the difference between writer and copywriter. Writer is the one that, you know, writes something. Copywriter is the one that sells with words. Sells with words, right? So writer maybe writes interesting things, but copywriter is the goal and their purpose is to get money for clients, and that's really most important thing. And of course, there's nothing else you can do. Even if somebody can, you know, created amazing results for the clients, you still not sure if this is going to work for you. So you have to try it, you know, but also check. Check means check, you know, their credibility, check the stuff they create for you. So check with the other copywriters, maybe, you know, run by some people. And also another thing, before you commit and create something like really big, you know, video with high production, always check before with just copy, like really simple, just read it out, you know, create a simple video reading it, for example, and just see how it performs, you know. And I say always that like when you have really simplest and really even ugly looking video do well, or at least get some traction, some results, you know that you have something worth looking at. So it's a simple video with this story, with the script. If it works, at least, you know, for a few people, if people buy, even with the like really bad video, you know that you can already upgrade and try the big things. So third one is questionnaire copywriting, right? So whenever you work with copywriters, and in this case we actually worked with we worked with Vince on this, but when they create a story, and these are the questions usually copywriters ask. So of course, you know, the most important or like simplest ones is like, you know, what is your product or service? So you have, you know, they ask you to describe it, show credibility and proof, because like that's what they're gonna need to sell. You know, they're gonna need to sell why this works, why your product works, right? You know, unique selling proposition. These are like the main things that they're going to ask you, but also the other things like what was missing in the marketplace, right? So they will ask you things like that they will help you to think and focus on maybe the side that you never focused on. And it will actually help you to develop more of a sales message and like things you need to talk in your video, in your marketing, in your emails, and everything else. Things like, you know, 3 hesitations before purchasing your product. What is it? Like, why people hesitate to purchase your product? What? Because they need to overcome those objections. You know, other things like where your prospects are coming from, right? They need to know, because their copy will depend on that. Right? If somebody's coming cold, or somebody's coming hot, or somebody's coming from Facebook or Google AdWords, right? These are the different things they need to know, and you also need to think about, you know, what is the voice and tone, like who is talking, what type of age, right? Which is the market, you know, is it women, men, is it young, old, is it US or worldwide, you know? So they need to also think about that, and many other questions that they usually ask, right? But of course, when we're working with Russell Brunson and Dave Woodward and people that know, like they're masters at selling online, like these are the things we actually are taken care of. But like, this is the things when we work on other projects, these are the main things that our copywriters and people we work with always ask, and we help, you know, clients to understand this also.
Take this, Zanos!